Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So good morning. Market opens, and today, of course, I want to talk about what's going on with U.S. markets and world markets because we did receive some pretty bad inflation numbers from the U.K. And also in the U.S., we are waiting for one big report that is set to come out this afternoon. So let's talk about inflation woes. And also, of course, let's talk about what's going on in Bitcoin and crypto today. So smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and follow the brand new channels. All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome, guys. Little late this morning. That's okay. Just a few minutes. So today it looks like Wall Street is taking a breather, down slightly, but that could change because in the US we are waiting for one big report that is coming roughly around 2 o'clock, 2 Eastern, so 1 Central, right? And that is the FOMC minutes report that discusses what was discussed last month during the FOMC meeting. Now, for the most part, we know what was discussed. We know what was said because Powell has a press conference every single time and talks about it. So there wasn't much that I remember that was out of line or unexpected. So things should be, fingers crossed, okay. It should be a non-event, right? But I do think Wall Street is always careful. The last few times we had this come out, we kind of had the same moment where the markets were like uneasy a little bit, and then we get a good recovery afterwards once nothing comes out. But we have also seen where something comes out and spoofs the market, right? So that could be a possibility, although I think there's a small chance of that. We'll see. But that's why I think the market right now, even though it may be in red, who knows? We could claw right back to even or even break into the green, and the market rally continues. However, this is not the only thing that people are worried about today. I mean, unfortunately, UK just reported their inflation number. Their month-to-month is not looking good. In the US, we saw inflation go down in July. We saw a pretty significant drop from 9.1% down to 8.5%. A half percentage point between June and July. Unfortunately, UK, that's not the case. From June to July, it went up from 9.4 to 10.1, over half percentage. So inflation is now over 10% in the UK, and it does look like it's going to continue to rise. They already estimated it may go as high as 13% before coming down. And this is all still happening while there's no prime minister, and people really don't know who the new leader, what they're going to do, right? So obviously this is having an effect. UK is suffering more inflation because their central bank is not raising rates nearly as fast as Jerome Powell, and also there's this, this lack of clarity with a new prime minister coming in, and plus there's a war going on in Europe. Plus there's some kind of like gap thing that gets raised all the time in terms of how high energy prices could be, and that thing it seems like it doesn't update all the. I'll take that back. I need to do more research on that part, but there is something where there's like a cap in terms of how much you can raise energy prices by, and that gets raised all the time, and it doesn't adjust on the fly. So there's that too. But anyways, UK obviously one of the big countries of the world, and obviously if inflation is hurting UK, it's going to hurt Europe, and if it hurts Europe, it's going to hurt the world, right? So obviously not a good situation. So that's why I do think markets have stalled a little bit because of what came out of UK and because what may be coming out later at 1 p.m. when the minute report comes out. So we'll have to wait to see what happens. Now, there are other things that came out today that not so good. Target is doing the opposite of what Walmart did yesterday. Walmart and Home Depot yesterday reported spectacular earnings. Well, not spectacular. I take that back. Good earnings, above forecast and predicted that the remainder of this year will be good. But Target, on the other hand, did not. Their profits plunged. They have way too much inventory. They ordered way too much, and now they're clearing them out. So they're selling off their unwanted inventory at deep discounts. So Target is offsetting some of the gains that we saw yesterday from Walmart, Home Depot, because they were saying consumer confidence was still high, but Target itself is not saying that. So, but this could just be due to Target itself, its mismanagement itself, because there's other big retailers that's going to come out, and we'll see what they say, right? But right now, Target is getting hammered because of it. Well, -4% actually isn't that bad. Also, what else is going on? Mortgage demand is still falling. Even though mortgage rates have fallen, they're down to 5.45%. So obviously still like more than double of the low threes or high twos, but coming off of the 6% plus that we saw just a few months ago. So it seems to have settled, even though mortgage rates did go down last week. Mortgage demand is still coming down. Again, does this mean that housing is about to crash? I say it's unlikely. Is it going to lose some steam? Yeah. The whole point of the rate hikes from Jerome Powell is to decrease demand, and it's working, right? Otherwise, if mortgages are still climbing higher, right, and people are buying homes at a record pace, and that doesn't stop, well, then obviously whatever he's doing is not working. So this is kind of expected. So I guess we will see. But I know one thing is for sure, housing prices have not fallen to pre-2020 levels. They are still way, way higher, at least in the U.S. I don't know where it is, how it is in other parts of the world, but yeah, there's that. All right, Bitcoin right now is 23.5. Norbert, welcome to the channel. Welcome to, Bitcoin is down a little bit. Yesterday when I was streaming, it's like 23.8. Right now it's 23.7. So again, Bitcoin not making big moves right now, and that's okay. I've been saying it's okay if we consolidate. It's okay if we just kind of hover a little bit, right? There are definitely still a lot of headwinds Bitcoin and crypto is facing, but we are slowly and surely breaking upwards, and we're waiting for that one enormous push that's going to push us back up to this range between 30 and 28,000, right? I am waiting for that, and there are things I want to talk about that does show that may be around the corner. Let's see. Let's start out with this. There is a former Goldman Sachs banker that explains why Wall Street gets Bitcoin wrong, because most of the people that he has talked to in the past, they don't even understand what money truly is. They just know how to trade, right? But there is a good example of what money really is, and you look at fiat, gold, and Bitcoin, and why so many are starting to understand why Bitcoin is a better version of gold, a digital gold, and way better than fiat. Just look at some of these traits, right? If you look at some of the lower parts of this, it's not even comparable. I know my camera's cutting this off, but let me remove that. You can see, I mean, the lower parts of this is all low for fiat. Right. But you look at the upper parts like verifiable, fungible, portable, durable, divisible, right? Basically all going towards Bitcoin, with the exception of gold leading with durable, right? Because it is physical, obviously. But you look at established history, that's the low point for Bitcoin because it's only been around since 2009. So 13-year history, nothing compared to like 5,000 plus years, probably more for gold and fiat. Fiat's also pretty low, but not as low as Bitcoin. But you look at things like censorship resistance, unforgivable costliness, openly programmable, decentralized, right? Obviously, Bitcoin takes those traits. So, is Bitcoin a better form of money? Yes. But still, many people do not believe, do not understand, or choose to turn a blind eye to Bitcoin. And those people will lose out. It's as simple as that. Right, so good reminder of what money is and what Bitcoin is. And here's an interesting chart that basically shows once you have like a base established at least from previous cycles, once you have that base established, we tend to see that big drop below it. That usually indicates a bottom, and then we recover back up to that base point, and then we recover upwards. We saw in 2014, 2015, we saw 2018, 2019, and we're starting to see that right now, right? So we're not quite back up to that base yet, and that base is around $30,000, right? So once we get to that base around $30,000, then we could build on there and continue upwards. But that's why I think that's an important mark, and we may be hovering there for a while, even when we get back to it. However, if you look at some of these previous times when we did break through that base, Bitcoin went on a crazy rally afterwards, right? So that is something we could also look forward to as we continue and trend higher. All right, what else is there? Well, obviously, because we are down, you look at people that are taking advantage. A lot of reports coming out measuring activity, measuring buying. Over 300,000 now owned by Bitcoin buyers who bought at recent lows. So what does this mean? A lot of people are still just buying. You know, they're starting to get it. They're looking at all the inflation stuff that's going on around the world, and they don't quite trust fiat or central banks. And look at all the things that's been happening with, you know, bank seizures, bank closures, withdrawals being stopped, right? Who wants to go through that? No one. So that's why they're also turning to Bitcoin. So this is no surprise there are so many that are buying right now, which is why the number of hodl Bitcoins is going up and up and up and up, right? Not at all-time high yet, but it is going up. The number of people depositing Bitcoin to be sold is getting dirt low, because at this point, who wants to be selling Bitcoin? Almost everyone is buying Bitcoin, right? So these are great metrics. And also, just a friendly reminder, if you're questioning whether or not it's really worth holding Bitcoin, whether or not it's really worth holding Bitcoin, well, here's the return from last 10 years. 10 years. If you held gold, luckily, you're still up 7%. S&P 264%, Google 650%, Apple 800, Microsoft 1,000, Amazon 1,000. You get the picture. Tesla's not bad at all. 14,700. Nvidia 5,000. Right? But no asset is close to Bitcoin at 206,000. Okay, so that should be the clearest sign, or the best reason why one should be holding Bitcoin for the long haul, for long term. Because who knows what the returns will be in the next 10 years. Maybe not at 206,000, but there's plenty of gains left. Just imagine when 8 billion people around the world truly embrace Bitcoin and blockchain, and what's going to happen then. Right now, it's still so early. So, give you guys a gentle reminder of why you should be holding Bitcoin. All right, as for the overall market today, crypto market down slightly, about 1.57%, right? So, still some inflation worries, but we'll see. Later today, roughly around 1 o'clock my time, Central Standard Time, that minute report comes out. That could be a big catalyst in terms of turning the market around. And I guess we'll see. All right, let's do some Q&A. Oh, by the way, those of you guys that tuned in last night, everyone's saying, "Oh, look at Elon is buying a team, buying Manchester United." You know what? No, he's not. It's a joke. Like I said this, it makes no sense that Elon would buy a team. He has no time or capacity to own a team. So I'm just clearing that up, because everyone's so excited about him buying it, and somehow it's going to help Chili's. He's going to buy up Chili's or something. No, no, he's not. Anyways, Michael Saylor said, we would prefer you to buy some more Bitcoin. Michael Saylor has kind of turned into a troll of Elon these days. And it doesn't seem like Elon is responding back to him. Anyways, all right. Oops, let's change my screen here a little bit. Patriots, I watched a video about the Genesis. I hope the Korean brands continue to do well. I think they're going to do well for sure. They're selling well. There's a ton of people in my neighborhood driving Genesis. Genesis is starting to do really good. You know, as a luxury brand, as an off-brand to the Germans, right? But they're making a lot of inroads. They just don't have their own dealerships yet, but eventually I think they will. The new Gala Miranda's playtest looks amazing. Should I be wary of the hype over crypto MMO games? No. I mean, it's not like they're skyrocketing right now because of that testnet. I mean, it truly believes whether or not you believe in them or not. Do you believe they have a future? Should you be hyped about their future? If not, why you should be wary over MMO games? It really depends on if you care about them or not. It's 1:40 here in New Zealand. I still follow you twice a day. Thank you, Teresa. I do appreciate that. Look at web dollar. That just sounds bad already. I'm sorry, but yes, that sounds bad. I'm sorry, Teresa. I'm not going to look at this, and neither should you. 2.3 million market cap with only 11,000 volume with 5 decimal points, and with a name like this, yeah, you probably want to stay away. Unless you're telling me that's your own project, but still. Are you concerned with the 130,000 BTC that's being released on retail? 70,000 BTC dropped, 17K to 3K. Well, no, I'm not, Daniel, because there's no guarantee that all 130,000 will be distributed in BTC. A lot of people is taking cash because it's faster. Also, last time this happened, Bitcoin market was much weaker than now. So even though, and plus, they're not selling all at the same time. Last time when Mt. Gox sold, it was the trustee that sold all at the same time. This time they're being distributed back to the people, and not all the people will be selling at the same time. And why would they sell now? Those people have been paying attention to the market. Why would they sell now when they know recovery is underway? So I'm not really worried about it. I think if all 130,000 are sold immediately at the same time on Coinbase, yes, it will cause a disruption, but that's not going to happen. Red Rubles, I didn't say I was unhappy with Cancun. I just said I was unhappy with the food. But overall, I enjoyed the vacation. I think it was one of the better vacations I've taken in the past. Have I been to Coco Cay? No, because I have not taken a Royal Caribbean cruise recently. But it just seems like it's one gigantic water park, right? It's Royal Caribbean's own island. But I have not taken a cruise. I was set to take a cruise like 2 years ago, but then it was canceled. No, I'm not gonna be getting a knee replacement at my age, okay? I think I have a couple decades before I have to think about that. You're wrong about mobile world tokens having to rely on mobile carriers. World Mobile have been granted their own license to be ISP and mobile carrier. Okay, that's fine. But how are they going to expand worldwide? They're not. Use some common sense. Here's the thing about crypto. One of the things that people don't quite understand when it comes to a project is use your common sense and think about it. Okay? Even as big as Deutsche Telekom is, which is T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon, wherever, right? They're not global. So for someone to roam worldwide, right, you have to rely on the local carriers. So even like a project like Dent, even though with eSIM cards, you still have to rely on the cell towers of the countries that you're in, right? It's not going to magically just work. So World Mobile Token, and I don't care if they're their own ISP or their own carrier or they have their own towers. There's no way they can operate anywhere else because they have to rely on other mobile carriers. So use some common sense. There's a lot of times when people look at a project, ask me about a project, and I look at it, I immediately could tell there's a lot of red flags because it's just too encompassing, or they're trying to do something that just isn't feasible, right, in the real world. But yes. So, I mean, it's the same thing with Dent. Dent, when they came out, was very hot, and people are saying, "Oh, you're wrong. They don't have to care about. They don't care about the other mobile carriers. They have eSIM, and eSIM will just replace everything." No, it won't. You still need towers. Knees over toe, guys, life changing. I know. I've been watching them. I've been doing some of the exercises. Diamond Sauce, I'm shaving and listening to George. Thank you. Can you give us a tour of your car collection? I don't have that many. I want to build out a collection for the future, but I don't have that many with me right now. I just have my Tesla. I have my Mercedes just parked, not doing anything. And a few others that I've ordered have not come in yet. But, you know, I'm excited that my house, my new house, will start construction soon. Hopefully the first week of September. And I plan on recording it and kind of doing a whole series on my I Am George channel. So I'm excited about that. That's the big thing that's coming. Anyone that yells out crypto is crashing is going to get a permanent ban in my channel right now. How is it crashing when it crashed like $100 since when I streamed? All right. Yeah, house building is, man, it's something I've never done before. But my wife and I, we've shopped for a lot of houses, and we just can't find one that is perfect. And plus, our kids are in a certain school district, and they don't want to get out. And it just so happens by where I live, there's a piece of land that's still open. So I'm going to buy a piece of land, two pieces of land, somewhat smaller, combining into one big land, and then building a pretty significant house with a very nice garage inside. Chainlink will have SmartCon 2022 event together with Google in 2 months. Okay. That sounds good. Google, I wonder if they invested in Chainlink, because Google recently was reported they invested $1.5 billion into Web3 projects. So could be that they are invested in Chainlink. Chainlink is so important in this space that I've said that so many times. It's just not a sexy project. Not a lot of people care about Chainlink, but it's the ultimate utility. It's like the one thing that you don't want to break. Because every single price ticker, every single price feed is pulled from Chainlink. And if Chainlink collapses, basically all DeFi projects stop working instantly. So that shows you how important Chainlink is. But they're working beyond that. They're creating their own bridge. They're trying to be like a layer 2 almost. So they're moving in different places. 2 different places. Which Lego set to buy if you have $1,000 to spend? I would buy that new roller coaster set. That looks amazing. I just bought a couple different sets myself. I just bought the new that Doctor Strange house, the Sanctorium. They came out the big one. That's like a modular building. It looks cool, and plus they made it so that you could hook it up to the other modular buildings. I just bought that. What else did I buy? I forgot what else I bought. But I would buy that roller coaster. I would buy the new Ferrari Daytona. It's a monster of a set, right? Just those two alone would be like close to $700-800. And then you throw in another modular set. Yeah, that's $1,000 right there. I'm talking about the biggest Lego sets still. Not every set is that expensive, but they have been going up in price, that's for sure. Every new Star Wars set, you know, like the price keeps being jacked up. So a lot of sets are over $200, $200, $250. A lot of them are now over $300. I'll be in Cancun in 2 weeks. Can I get some advice? I don't know. I've only been there once, and I've stayed only at one place, the Moon Palace, and I think they were okay. But they do try to upsell you. I think in Cancun, no matter where you go, they try to upsell you in some sort of timeshare kind of thing. So I guess just be careful of that. You know, they'll promise you a discount or some kind of benefits if you go back in the future, and they want you to pay up front. Even when you're leaving, they try to upsell you, right? So it really depends on if you really, really, really enjoyed your time or not. Has crypto affected your mental health? It did before, when I was in much, much, much worse position. But then I got over it. Actually, at that time, my worst was, I've been through some really bad crashes, right? Not just crypto, but just overall in general investment. My investment career, I guess, going back 20-something years, I've been through some very bad times. I think the worst time was probably the 2008 crash, right? I was really depressed after that. The 2008, 2009 crash, I went all in, and I didn't have that much money, and I lost it all, and I got so sick of investing. That's what I actually went and turned my focus towards dieting, and man, I lost 50 plus pounds. I went from 225 down to 175. I was exercising and lifting and playing ball like every single day. Best shape of my life, and that was after right when I got married. So people are like, why are you losing weight after you get married, right? But that's because I changed my focus. 2018, after 2017, you know, high of Bitcoin, 2018, 19, 20, it was bad, but I put my focus on the channel, you know, on YouTube and growing CryptosRUs brand, so that got me through it. So I think it's just a matter of changing your perspective. You got to have a goal. Just shift your goal to something when there's like a real struggle going on, right? When mentally you need to check out, right? I think shifting your priorities or your goal into something else to keep you motivated and not just sit on your hands and do nothing, right? I think that's the best way. At least that's what I did in the past. Moon Palace is amazing. It's a really good resort. I had no problems with that resort. I think it was really good. Service is good. People are good. The hotel, I mean, the rooms are good. The only thing I didn't like was the food. The food just wasn't good. Once your new home is ready, you'll find a place where you wanted something to change. I don't know. I looked at the plans with the architect like 100 different times, thought about different ways. I don't think anything's going to change. The only thing I do want to change, well, first of all, I'm building an underground half basketball court. That's pretty unique. I'm going to have a 6-car garage. Actually, it could fit 9 cars because the ceilings are going to be really high, so I could put lifts in the back. 10-foot garage doors, so these are like pretty cool things. But one thing I did want to change that maybe way too expensive is to build a lift that doesn't go up but goes down. So then I can transport a car down into the basement so that I could look at it while in the basement, right? Like kind of like an art piece. But I know that's going to be very expensive, so I'm probably not going to do that. And then plus you got to get a new permit and everything. Good morning, George, Daniel. Vet or Phantom? Just want to choose one of them. If you're just choosing one, go with Vet. But there's no reason why you shouldn't choose both. Do you really need 3 to 4 cars? You just buy them for tax write-offs. Tax write-offs and just because I just want to prepare for the future, I guess. There's a lot of cars I want, but I have no place to put them. You know, there's a lot of like older cars I would love to get. I'd love to get a DeLorean. I started looking at DeLoreans and I'm like, man, they're cool cars. I would love to get a DeLorean as a collector's car. I'd love to get the first Tesla Roadster. You know, I think that's a pretty cool car to get. There's a lot of like random cars that I think are pretty cool, collector cars. Ian says, George is not answer if you don't pay or be a member. Tired typing no answer. You know, Ian, I'm going to do you a favor and ban you from this channel for being an absolute idiot. Every single thing I've been answering is non-super chatter member. But thank you for your stupid comment. You're gone from this channel. My neighbor had a DeLorean packed away in his garage. Like last year at a Halloween thing for my friend, someone took their DeLorean there. And he had it like modified to look like the Back to the Future car. And I'm like, that looks pretty cool. But the funny thing is, no kids know about it. No kids go back and watch Back to the Future. I actually force my kids to watch it so they understand why it's cool. But, you know, like Lego came out DeLorean set, no one bought it. And like no one knows about it other than the older adults that watch Back to the Future. And I'm surprised they haven't made a Back to the Future 4 yet. You know, it'll probably be coming soon. Do you think there will be one more shakeout? I don't think there'll be one more shakeout, but you know, with all the inflation woes and stuff not going away, we could certainly see more like non-movement. Can we see a little bit more dip back down? Yeah. If inflation numbers come back up, let's say in September in the US, that could be a big driver to bring things down again. But I don't think there's going to be like any specific, like, let's just put it this way. I don't think a shakeout needs to happen before we can rally up. Because a lot of technical guys will say that. Like, it has to hit 17K or it has to hit 14K before it goes up. I always take those with a grain of salt because I don't believe that's true. It could happen, but I don't believe it has to happen. But I look at the macro environment, and macro environment is definitely improving, right? Can it get worse again? Sure. But right now, we are definitely looking like we are improving. So if so, then everything's going to go up, get carried upwards. Buy a Trans Am and make it into Knight Rider. I was like 5 or 6 years old when Knight Rider was on. I don't truly appreciate that show, but I do remember when I was watching it, I did like it. No, that's a little too much for me. I was going to get a Camaro Lego, but I didn't because I don't have space for it. I have so many that I didn't even build yet. Like my room is completely full. So I have so many boxes of Lego that I can't even build. 69 Camaro, I agree with that. 69 Camaro SS, that's like my dream muscle car. If I had the time and I was going to get a muscle car, I would get a 69 Camaro, the SS. I think that, you know, drop down with, you know, some modern enhancements. Man, that car looks so good to me. And you can never replace a V8 exhaust, right? That's the thing I criticize EV cars for. It's like, it's great going fast. It's great as a daily driver. It's not great as a weekend car. And there's no excitement. It's driving a robot. Like, there's absolutely no emotion involved when driving an EV car. And unfortunately, many people like that. Like my friend, one of my friends just does not get it. He's like, I don't, you know, we've known each other for a long time. You know, before I had some sports cars like M3, M5. I had my Ferrari before. I had, you know, a lot of nice cars. He never got any of it. He's like, I don't care about any of that. And now he's so happy with the Tesla because he's like, yeah, you know, Tesla's so great. It gets me from point A to point B, and I have auto drive and stuff. Unfortunately, that's how 90% of the population is. But it's so damn boring. All right. Anyways, I'm just ranting a little bit. I think that's pretty much it. Overall, you know, in the U.S., we're gonna have to wait a few more hours until the Fed minute report that's gonna come out. That'll be around 1 to 2 p.m. So we'll see. Right now, the market's hovering. It's not getting any deeper in red. So I think people are just waiting to see what happens. If there's nothing, we could certainly see a market recovery right back up to where we were yesterday and continue forward, right? So I guess we'll see. But if you're living in the UK, I'm not quite so sure that that things will improve that quickly. 10% inflation is definitely troublesome. But then again, in the US, we're not far from 10%, and we could be already there. So anyways, stay strong, my friends. Today, kind of a weak day, but you know what? Things could improve rapidly. And of course, what's going on Bitcoin and crypto, still looking fantastic. So nothing has changed fundamentally. So stay strong, my friends. Focus on the future. And I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.